Tonight's YouTube premiere is sponsored by Chattanooga's original pop culture store, Infinity Flux. You can visit Infinity Flux at 3643 Hickson Pike in Chattanooga, or you can visit them online at infinityflux.net. Tonight's YouTube premiere was also sponsored by Drogo Coffee and Tea. You can find Drogo Coffee and Tea online at drogocoffee.com. If you enjoy Tennessee Macabre, please consider becoming a patron. You will be helping us continue to bring great shows to you, and if you sign up at the $5 level, you will receive our quarterly zine. We haven't named it yet, but it's going to be loaded with articles and short stories about our favorite subjects. You guessed it, rock and roll, horror movies, and pulp fiction. So don't miss out. Go to Patreon now. We got some great flicks coming up next month on the Tingler Television Network. You want to make sure that you plan on spending your Thursday nights with Tennessee Macabre, Horror City Detroit, and RoboCat. So here's what we got on the slab for January. We're going to start off with the grooviest vampire that ever lived. Well, you know what I mean. Anyway, we're going to show Scream Blackula Scream. Then we got the sequel to The Blob, Beware the Blob, starring Larry Hagman, Cindy Williams, and Carol Lindley. After that, where Willard ends, Ben begins. Tennessee Macabre is going to the Rats with Ben. We also have Dario Argento's masterpiece, Surprise-Ya. So make sure you join Tennessee Macabre on Thursday nights and stream Tingler Television Network every night for great horror. Well, folks, let's get things started off tonight with a tale of terror from Tennessee Macabre's podcast channel. You can find us on Spotify. Just look up WSDQ The Squid. And now, let's listen to the demise of the great god Karnak.
A warm mist obscured the stars above the Miskatonic River. Professor Artuk Bey struggled up the steps from the wharf. His corpulent body bent double under the weight of the giant pine crate he carried. It was 6 feet long and 2 feet wide. It was not particularly heavy, but the professor was not used to carrying much more than his books. There was a beat-up ancient pickup truck at the top of the steps. Once upon a time, it had been bone white. Now there were just patches of white paint, rust, and primer. The professor stopped at the top of the steps, laboriously turned around to face the crate, and drug it to the bed of the truck. The tailgate was gone when he purchased the old junker. He gingerly laid the edge of the crate in the back of the pickup. He pulled a handkerchief from the breast pocket of his tan suit and leaned against the bed of the truck, mopping perspiration from his forehead. There was a scraping sound as the crate slid slowly down the steps. The professor moved with surprising speed and agility for a man of his girth. He caught the bottom of the crate before it had slid very far. With a grimace, he lifted the crate into the back of the truck. It hit the back of the cab with a few feet hanging out the bed of the truck. That was fine. He didn't have far to go. He secured the crate with 4 or 5 bungee cables. It seemed like overkill, but this cargo was priceless. He started the truck on the 3rd crank. Black smoke poured from the exhaust. The engine knocked and sputtered, but it ran. He drove a few blocks to Rivertown. He had bought an old auto garage with a small flat above it. He pushed the button on the remote and took over, and the old garage door jerked open. He pulled in and killed the ignition quickly so that the garage would not fill with fumes. He pushed the button again, and the door jerked its way back down. The professor removed the bungee cords and tilted the crate until it sat upright. He grabbed some hand trucks from the corner and slid them under the crate. He rolled the box into a freight elevator and punched the button. The elevator cranked to life, lifting the professor and his crate up into the apartment. It was just a small great room with a bedroom and a bath off to the right. Books were scattered around it in stacks on the lime green shag. Egyptian artifacts were scattered haphazardly. The whole living room was dominated by a large altar covered in a black cloth and set with an incense brazier. Behind it was a life-size statue of the great god Karnak. When the elevator jangled to a halt, the professor spread his arms wide and bowed in supplication to his god. He wheeled the crate over and slid it up the wall next to a life-sized effigy. He leaned against the altar and admired his work. His night's labor was completed. Tomorrow night, he would complete the work of a lifetime. The next evening, the professor was waiting for his evening appointment with Raylan. She was truly beautiful. An unusually tall young woman with raven hair and black eyes. She was trim and athletic. He knew that she spent a lot of time hiking and canoeing and that it kept her fit. She was a Memphis native who explained her dark eyes and hair as part of her Choctaw ancestry. The professor had never challenged that explanation. However, he was certain that he sensed the old blood in this girl. Raylan was as brilliant as she was beautiful. She had excelled in her undergraduate studies at the University of the South, and had been given her choice of graduate programs. Her interest in the mystic arts of ancient Egypt had decided her for Miskatonic University. While Miskatonic had a deserved reputation for high mortality rate among students, especially graduate students, even the most vehement critics grudgingly acknowledged that Miskatonic's Department of Antiquities housed the best scholars of ancient mysticism in the world. For all of Raylan's brilliance, she seemed to have one weakness. She found it difficult to master the study of hieroglyphics, a skill absolutely essential to her chosen field of study. Professor Artuk Bey has suggested that they spend some extra time studying outside of class. At first, Raylan had misinterpreted this suggestion as a sexual advance. Of course, she had no idea that he was the high priest of Karnak, dedicated to the great god at birth and celibate from the moment he took those vows. No, Professor Artuk Bey had a far higher purpose in mind. It took some convincing, but she had finally agreed to meet him at the Squid's Ink, a favorite coffee shop among Miskatonic students. That had been about a month ago. Since then, they had met regularly on Thursday evenings at 5, and worked until the shop closed at 11. Raylan was nothing if not a diligent student. Her mastery of hieroglyphics was improving slowly, but steadily. A few more months and she would be his equal. He was almost sad that she did not have a few more months. The server brought 2 cappuccinos, their customary drink. As soon as she had left the booth, the professor pulled an amber vial from his coat. He tipped 2 drops of brown liquid into Raylan's cappuccino and hurriedly replaced the vial in his jacket. No sooner had he done this than Raylan strode in. There was nothing about her that was flippant or coquettish like so many of his other young students. She had the mien of a scholar, indeed, of a princess. Bey stood and bowed politely as she took her seat.
I took the liberty of ordering your cappuccino.
How kind of you, Professor. I'm afraid that I may not be able to drink it.
Oh, is that not your usual drink?
Oh, of course, it's just that I've been sleeping rather fitfully of late. I've been having awful nightmares. Not the dreams that some of the other students have had about odd stars and tentacled gods. Thank heavens, nothing like that.
Thank the gods. Nothing good ever comes of people having those dreams.
My dreams are much more mundane. I hesitate to mention them. They're so silly.
I'm not untutored in the art of interpreting dreams. Why don't you share them with me? Perhaps I can be of assistance.
Well, all right, but you must promise not to laugh.
Of course not. How could anyone be so insensitive?
When I was growing up, my father used to watch Fantastic Features. It was a Saturday night late show, and this guy named Silvad would show all these old horror movies. My dad's favorites were the mummy movies. I think that's where I first became interested in ancient Egypt, watching Lon Chaney Jr. step across the television screen.
How very interesting.
See, I told you it was mundane. Anyway, I keep dreaming that Karis is after me. You promised not to laugh.
I'm not laughing. I simply swallowed wrong. If you will forgive my saying so, a dream of being chased by, in your case, a monster, is rather a common response to stress. Maybe the chorus that you dream of is simply the study of hieroglyphics that's fixed you so much. I have to tell you, Raylan, there's no reason for stress. You've made remarkable progress. Indeed, a few more months of study like this and you may well become my equal.
Thank you, Professor. That's very kind and very reassuring. You know, I suppose one cappuccino will not hurt anything. It tastes different. Sweeter, with a hint of flowers. Just slightly different.
Should I order you another?
Oh no. Maybe it's just me. It'll be fine. Where were we?
I believe that we were translating the Book of the Dead.
Of course.
Are you quite all right, dear? You look as if you're becoming ill.
I was fine just a moment ago. I feel as if I'm going to pass out.
The professor took a 20 from his jacket and put it under the sugar shaker. He took Raylan's book and his own and slipped them into her book bag and slung it over his shoulder. He helped Raylan up from the table and slipped her arm around his shoulders. She was limp, clammy, and barely conscious. The server looked very concerned. Bay nodded to the table, and she seemed to understand.
Would you like some water or a cold rag?
Thank you, no. I'm going to get her home and put her to bed.
The server ran ahead of them and opened the door. Fortunately, Bay had parked the truck right in front. He opened the door and slid her into the truck. He made sure that her skirts were free of the door and shut it. He was shocked when he got in the Datsun started on the first try. It even seemed to be running a bit smoother. He eased the truck towards Rivertown. He had to move quickly now. The effects of the drug would not last long. Raylan never completely lost consciousness. She did, however, lose the ability to resist. She could feel the professor undressing her. She felt the hempen ropes cut deep into her wrists and ankles. She could smell the frankincense and myrrh when the professor lit the brazier of incense. It was a few moments before she could turn her head. Bay had evidently left the room. She looked around as her eyes adjusted. She felt a moment of revulsion as she saw the pagan idol, the great god Karnak. Then she heard the clanking of the elevator. She turned her head. It seemed to take forever. Just as Artuk Bay stepped from the elevator, hooded and dressed in floor-length black robes.
I see that you're starting to regain your senses, my dear. Can you speak yet? Do not trouble yourself. I will speak for a while. You needn't have any fear for your virtue.
Bay ran his hand up the length of her nude thigh. Raylan tried unsuccessfully to repress a shudder.
I am a priest, the last priest of the great god Karnak. Unfortunately, celibacy is a part of my vows to the great god.
He ran his hand up her torso and over her nude breast to stop just at her jawline, a leering smile on his face.
Would that it were not, my dear. This night might go quite differently. I thought I felt a stirring of the old blood in you. You cannot imagine my shock when you told me about your dream. Have you any idea what's in the crate? No? Shall I tell you? Perhaps I should just show you. Raylan, meet Karis.
He moved from in front of the crate to allow his terrified victim to view the nemesis of her dreams. The mummy was in terrible shape. His thigh burned so deeply that part of the femur was exposed. There were gaping holes in his torso, and one in his head where bullets and buckshot had torn out chunks of undead flesh. The body was mostly covered in greenish slime from the swamps where it had lain submerged for years. The places that were not covered in green slime were charred black. Raylan let out a low moan that turned into a full-throated scream.
You insult my friend. He's precious to me. I've spent my adult life searching for him. This began almost a century ago when ghouls from the west desecrated the tomb of the Princess Ananka, servant of the great god Karnak. Karis, priest of Karnak, had broken his vows and loved the princess. For this sacrilege, he was condemned to live for all eternity to guard the prince's tomb and serve the priests of Karnak. He was sent forth by my predecessors to punish the violators of the tomb and their descendants. Then he was lost, along with Ananka, deep in the Louisiana bayous. I searched for many years to find his body. Finally, 5 years ago, I found Karis, but I despaired. The Princess Ananka's body was nowhere to be found, and the supply of tanna leaves was exhausted. The trees on which they grew long since extinct. Without the tanna fluid, Karis is no more than a lifeless shell. Then, an undergraduate, young and foolish, dared to access a forbidden tome hidden deep in the bowels of Miskatonic's University Library. That fool snapped and was mad as a hatter, but the police called me in to translate some hieroglyphs they found scrawled on a scrap of paper. I gave them some cock and bull story about it being gibberish. Of course it wasn't. It was a spell to revive the dead. Imagine my excitement, my exultation. A way to revive Karis had fallen into my lap. All praise to the great god Karnak. Now, I could revive Karnak's greatest servant and locate Ananka.
But look at him! His thigh bone is exposed. There are gaping holes in his body. What kind of pain has that twisted body borne? How much more pain will it bear when you bring him back?
It's no more than he deserves. He broke his vows. He loved the princess.
What kind of monster god tortures his servant for 3 millennia for daring to love?
Blasphemer! Now I have Karis. I have the spell to bring him back. All that's required is a sacrifice. That, my dear disrespectful child, is where you come in.
Artuk Bey laughed as he pulled a wicked, crescent-shaped dagger from the folds of his robe. He laid the cold steel on the girl's exposed belly and laughed as she cringed. He turned his back to her and faced the idol with outstretched arms.
O great god Karnak, accept this sacrifice of thy humble servant, Artuk Bey. Restore to life thy left hand, Karis, that he may bring death to thine enemies and restore thy servant Ananka to her tomb. Bless this oil of nard that I anoint thy sacrifice with.
He lifted an alabaster vase, inscribed with hieroglyphs, from the feet of the idol and lifted it high above his head. He then turned and drizzled the oil over Raylan's nude body from her head to her thighs. He dropped the jar with a crash and took the slippery dagger in his right hand. His left rubbed oil all over Raylan's torso. While he leered at her shimmering body, he raised the dagger high.
No, please, no!
Accept the soul of thy new servant, O great Karnak.
Pompous old fool!
The priest's eyes bulged in shock as the stout hemp ropes that bound her disappeared in a puff of smoke. Where the rope had creased her olive skin, there were no burns, no abrasions, no cuts. She sat up on the table, unashamed of her nude, oiled body.
Old fool! Did you not think it strange that the Princess Ananka was not found in Karis' arms? You sought to raise my poor, tortured lover yet again, so we could repeat the cycle once more. It always ends the same way. Karis shot, burned, and buried alive, myself with him.
Artuk Bey was cringing in the corner, gripping his idol.
My princess...
Do not use my name, cur. How dare you open your lips to beg mercy when you were prepared to end my life, to bring back Karis? You wanted to subject my lover to a life of torture once again. Do not pretend you did it to serve Karnak. You did it to serve your own ends like all priests. I was shocked that you overcame your lust long enough to plunge this dagger into my chest. In your lust, you stripped the robes from a princess of Egypt. You struck a princess of Egypt, and you plunged a dagger into the beating heart of a princess of Egypt. What is the punishment for that, O Artuk Bey?
The priest knelt and bowed his head before the furious princess.
Death, Your Highness.
That's right. But I can be merciful. I'm no longer Karnak's servant. A new master came to me in the swamps. A master that took pity on Karis and myself. He offered me a path to eternal life. He offered a way to restore Karis' twisted and ruined body to its former life and vigor. You know that master. Can you guess of whom I speak?
No.
Yes, the crawling chaos, Nyarlathotep. It was he that placed me here, he that showed me how to trap that boy and plant the spell on him. Everything that has happened has been to draw you here. You see, Nyarlathotep purposes the demise of the great god Karnak. Hail chaos and starless night. That's where you come in, Artuk Bey. You were always the sacrifice to restore Karis. But I will be merciful.
As she said this, she extended her outstretched hands towards Artuk Bey. Her red fingernails seemed to bleed into the priest's skull. He wailed as Ananka's fingers burrowed into his skull up to her knuckles.
I will be as merciful with you as your priests have been with Karis over the years. I shall take your mind to be his mind, your tongue to be his tongue. Your vim and vigor shall be his. He will take your place at university, and by Nyarlathotep's magic, all will know him as Artuk Bey. It will be as though you never existed. Together my lover and I will hunt down and destroy the last of your acolytes, and the worship of Karnak shall exist no more. But you will live, wasted, mindless, speechless. You will wander this world until the end of time.
The priest's salt and pepper hair became white and stringy. His eyes yellowed, his skin shriveled and cracked. The once corpulent body became a mere skeleton draped in folds of skin. Ananka pulled her fingers from the ruined husk that had been Artuk Bey, and he fell to the floor. She walked to the ruined mummy. She stood on her tiptoes and placed her ruby lips to the shriveled mouth of her 3,000-year-old lover. She blew life into those desiccated lips. The scorch marks on his body melted away. The bullet wounds and the ruined thigh muscles seemed to replace themselves. The green, slimy bandages fell away to reveal healthy olive skin over rippling muscles. The empty eye sockets were replaced with smoldering black eyes. There stood Karis, just as he had looked before those foul priests of Karnak had ripped out his tongue and buried him alive.
Karis, my love, you've returned at last.
The warrior priest wrapped his arms around Ananka.
It seems as though I've walked in a nightmare for many years.
You have, love. It's over now. We have a world to conquer and an empire to build. But first we must find clothes and get rid of that.
She said, gesturing to the drooling wreck that had once been Artuk Bey. She turned to go and find clothing. Karis's powerful arm grabbed her about the waist and pulled her back to him.
We cannot conquer the world or build an empire on this night, my love.
True, we cannot.
I can think of better things to do with you than search for garments and playing wet nurse to that wasted old man.
The passage of 3 millennia has not changed you, my love.
Narration by Matthew Walker.
Ananka by Aaron Weiniger.
Artuk Bey by Duke Ralston.
Karis, played by Jeremy Weiniger.
The Server by Regina Walker.
And The Demise of the Great God Karnak was written by Duke Ralston. Tonight's YouTube premiere is sponsored by Chattanooga's original pop culture store, Infinity Flux. You can visit Infinity Flux at 3643 Hickson Pike in Chattanooga, or you can visit them online at infinityflux.net. Tonight's YouTube premiere was also sponsored by Drogo Coffee and Tea. You can find Drogo Coffee and Tea online at drogocoffee.com. If you enjoy Tennessee Macabre, please consider becoming a patron. You will be helping us continue to bring great shows to you, and if you sign up at the $5 level, you will receive our quarterly zine. We haven't named it yet, but it's going to be loaded with articles and short stories about our favorite subjects. You guessed it, rock and roll, horror movies, and pulp fiction. So don't miss out. Go to Patreon now. We got some great flicks coming up next month on the Tingler Television Network. You want to make sure that you plan on spending your Thursday nights with Tennessee Macabre, Horror City Detroit, and RoboCat. So here's what we got on the slab for January. We're going to start off with the grooviest vampire that ever lived. Well, you know what I mean. Anyway, we're going to show Scream Blackula Scream. Then we got the sequel to The Blob, Beware the Blob, starring Larry Hagman, Cindy Williams, and Carol Lindley. After that, where Willard ends, Ben begins. Tennessee Macabre is going to the Rats with Ben. We also have Dario Argento's masterpiece, Surprise-Ya. So make sure you join Tennessee Macabre on Thursday nights and stream Tingler Television Network every night for great horror.
Guys, are you ready for a white zombie?
A white zombie? There ain't no such thing.
There is.
No, you can have a white Russian. That's a vodka with some Kahlua and a dab of cream. Tastes great going down, but boy, it's rough coming up. Ugh. Or you can have a zombie. 3 different types of rum, various liqueurs, and just a caress of absinthe.
You drunkard. I'm not talking about a drink. I'm talking about the 1932 Bela Lugosi movie.
Oh, that white zombie.
Mm-hmm.
With Madge Bellamy.
Mm-hmm.
That's good. You know, that was the first zombie movie ever made.
Was it?
Yes, indeed.
Well, that was pretty early in film history, so
Yeah, it's
that makes
pre-code.
sense. Mm-hmm.
It's pre-code. And you know, the neat thing about this here movie is that 50 years later, there's this award-winning academic text that talks about how zombies are made using a white powder.
Oh, so derivative.
Yeah, Bela Lugosi knew all along.
Mm-hmm.
Well, folks, we could make our own white zombie.
Oh, we could.
Yes, we could.
How do we do that?
Well, let's take a white Russian and let's mix it with the zombie. That way we got the best of both worlds.
That sounds pretty good to me.
And you know, old Dad John's a pretty good bartender.
He is. He's a mixologist.
I bet he could mix that right up.
Mm-hmm.
While Dad John is mixing this drink, folks, why don't we go ahead and hear a few words from our sponsors? Do you need a place to put your stuff? Call South Pittsburgh Storage at 423-815-1180. South Pittsburgh Storage has 192 climate-controlled storage units conveniently located at 212 First Street in downtown South Pittsburgh. Do you need a place to store your RV or your boat? Call South Pittsburgh Storage. They have RV and boat storage units available. Do you need a moving truck? Call South Pittsburgh Storage. They have Penske trucks for rent. South Pittsburgh Storage has a state-of-the-art security system so you can sleep soundly at night, knowing that your storage unit is safe and sound. Call 423-815-1180. Do you enjoy the South Cumberland State Park? It is a rock climber's paradise with many miles of hiking trails and dotted with waterfalls and caves. When you're here, make sure to visit Red Point Inn Restaurant and Mountain Gear Store, located on the historic Courthouse Square in beautiful Jasper, Tennessee. That's 30 Courthouse Square, aka Betsy Pack Drive. The phone number is area code 423-651-9869. Red Point Inn is open daily from 11 a.m. to 9 p.m. and until 10 on Fridays and Saturdays. They serve brunch, lunch, and dinner 7 days a week. They serve appetizers, espresso drinks, pizza, calzones, pasta, hearty sandwiches, wings, salads, soups, and desserts. And they have a full-service rock climbing shop located on the second floor. They also have camping sites available near Foster Falls. Order online for pickup or delivery at their website, redpointinn.com, or on their Facebook page at Red Point Inn. Don't forget to mention this ad on the Marion County Messenger and Tennessee Macabre and get a 15% discount off of any purchase. Make plans to attend the Rocket City HorrorCon on January 6th and 7th in Huntsville, Alabama. There are going to be celebrities: Lynn Lowry from The Crazies, John Dugan from the Texas Chainsaw Massacre, as well as David Howard Thornton from Terrifier. Of course, Tennessee Macabre's going to be there too. So come by and see us at the Rocket City HorrorCon in Huntsville, Alabama. Well, Dad John is all over that.
He sure is. While Dad John mixes up our drinks, why don't you go ahead and roll that zombie footage, TJ?
a burial.
In the road? Driver, what is it?
It's a funeral, mademoiselle. They're afraid of the men who steal dead bodies. So they dig the grave in the middle of the road, where people pass all of the time.
Well, that's a cheerful introduction for you to our West Indies.
Do you know where is the house of Monsieur Beaumont? Zombie! Allez vite! Allez!
It's got like hands clutching me.
Why did you drive like that, you fool? We might have been killed.
Worse than that, monsieur. We might have been caught.
Caught? By whom? Those men you spoke to?
They are not men, monsieur. They are dead bodies.
Dead?
Yes, monsieur. Zombies. The living dead. Corpses taken from their graves or made to work in sugar mills and fields at night. Look! Here they come!
Look. Look.
Excuse me, please. Have you got a match? Did I frighten you?
I'm sorry. I'm ugly enough, I suppose.
No, it wasn't you. Something happened back on the road there. We stopped to speak to some men. Our driver told us they weren't men at all. He said they were corpses. Corpses? Surely you don't believe it, do you?
No. Well, I don't know. Haiti is full of nonsense and superstition. They're always mixed up with a lot of mysteries that'll turn your hair gray. I've been a missionary here for, 30 years, and at times, I don't know what to think. Come, let's go in the house.
Oh, yes.
Huh?
Come, Dick.
Is Mr. Beaumont in?
You're expected, Dr. Bruner.
Yes, I've been sent for to marry someone. Maybe, How long is it that you know Mr. Beaumont?
Oh, only a few days. Madeline introduced him on the docks in Port-au-Prince.
And you?
I met him on the ship coming from New York. He was very kind during the voyage.
Oh, Madeline and I planned to be married the moment she arrived, but Mr. Beaumont persuaded us to come here. He promised to take me out of the bank at Port-au-Prince and send me to New York as his agent.
Strange. It's very strange.
I'll tell Mr. Beaumont you're here.
Yeah.
It's all right, isn't it, Doctor?
Oh, I guess so. You see, I've only met Mr. Beaumont once or twice, but he never struck me like a man that would take the trouble to play fairy godfather to a young couple like you. Unless
what, sir?
I suppose you think I'm a meddling old fool, but you know, I'd feel a good deal better if you'd clear out of this place after you're married and have nothing more to do with Mr. Beaumont.
The young people have arrived, sir, and Dr. Brunner. They're waiting in the reception hall.
Show them to their room and tell them I'm out.
Yes.
No, wait. Perhaps I'd better see them. It might look odd if I didn't.
Very odd, sir. Especially as Dr. Brunner is a trifle skeptical as to your motives, sir.
Never mind my motives. Has that other person sent word yet?
No, sir, not yet.
Yes, indeed. Oh, yes, of course. I'm sure Neil will make a very good agent. But you must be tired after your drive. You'll get some rest. Silver! Silver will show you to your rooms.
This way, please.
Delighted to see you again, Monsieur Beaumont. Please. Please. I'm sorry that kept you waiting, monsieur. I have been on a journey, seeking men for my mill. Men? They work faithfully, and they are not worried about long hours. You could make good use of men like mine on your plantation.
No. That's not what I want.
Then perhaps you wish to talk about the young lady who came to your house this evening.
You've seen her? When?
The roast, tonight. There was a young man with her.
They're to be married tonight. You've waited too long to do anything.
What do you want me to do?
If she were to disappear for a month,
what do you hope to gain by her disappearance?
everything.
Everything. Do you think she will forget her lover in a month?
Just give me a month. One little month.
Not in a month. Nor even a year, monsieur. I have looked into your eyes. She is deep in love. But not with you.
They're to be married within an hour. There must be a way.
There is a way. The cost is heavy.
You give me what I want, and you may ask anything. No. Not that.
Only a pinpoint, Monsieur Beaumont, in a glass of wine. Or perhaps a flower. Take it. The time is very brief. You must do your share if I'm to help you. Keep it, monsieur. Keep it. You may change your mind. Send me word when you use it.
I'll find another way.
There is no other way.
I love you, Madeline, more than anything else in this whole world, dear. Heaven or hell lies in this little moment for me. You can raise me up to paradise, or you can blast my world into nothingness. There's time even yet, dear. I can make you the envy of every woman. I'd give my life to make you happy. Oh, listen to me, dear, before it's too late.
Don't. Please.
Don't go into that room. We can be in Port-au-Prince in half an hour. There's a boat sailing at midnight.
You've been so wonderful. Don't spoil everything now.
One last gift before I lose you forever.
We are gathered together here in the sight of God and in the face of this company to join together this man, this woman in holy matrimony. Stay.
Toast to the bride, to beauty's queen. Gladly, my lord. Leave but a kiss with fair gypsy, read my fortune. What?
I see happiness. I see love. Far more than you deserve.
Is that all?
No. I see
what is it?
I see death.
Madam. Madeline, what's wrong? Madeline, my dear, please.
Oh, no.
Madeline! Madeline! Can't we do something? Please, please. Madeline!
our Lord and Savior, and the love of God, and the fellowship of his angels be with us evermore. Amen.
Just remember your face is shaded, so just be mindful to occasionally turn to the camera.
Okay.
Okay, come on.
You know, a lot of folks wonder why Bela Lugosi bothered with this film. He was fresh off of the success with Dracula at the height of his career, and he agreed to star in this film that was produced by the Halperns, which nobody really knew,
Right.
for next to nothing. Matter of fact, nobody really knows what he got paid, if he got paid.
If he got paid? Well, you know what I heard?
What's that?
I heard that he did end up having some creative control over it. So.
That's the rumor. Some folks say that he rewrote some screens. Some folks say that he even directed some scenes.
That would make sense.
And you know, this film has been hugely, hugely significant in the horror industry. A lot of the techniques that get pioneered here go on to be used for the next 5 decades. As a matter of fact, Francis Ford Coppola said this film was more influential on Bram Stoker's Dracula than Bela Lugosi's Dracula was.
That's a huge statement.
That is a huge statement.
Wow.
And it was filmed on the Universal lot, and they got to use a lot of props from Universal. So they had a lot of help in the making of the film. They also brought in an orchestra to play the musical score specifically for this film.
Oh, that's nice.
That was a first, an innovation.
Sounds like even though it was low budget, they had a lot going for them. They had a lot of luck with
They
it.
did. It was very low budget, but they innovated a lot. They invented a lot. Of course, this was in the very early days of talkies. Madge Bellamy was famous as a silent star.
This was that transition period.
That's right. And you can see that in the makeup. When you look at Madge Bellamy's makeup and her fiance's makeup, they really look a lot more like something off the silent screen.
It probably took a while to transition and, understand what's going to work in this type of film.
That's right. They had to figure out makeup techniques, audio techniques. They had to figure out musical score. They had to figure out soundtrack. There was a lot of technology developing at this time in Hollywood.
And hey, we have it a lot easier these days because of all that came before us.
Yes, we do. Well, you know what? Let's listen to a few words from our sponsors.
Sounds good.
Are you tired of the same old Tex-Mex? Are you ready for some authentic Mexican cuisine? Visit El Poblanitos, located at 2013 Main Street in Jasper. You can call them at 423-301-0656. They're open Wednesday and Thursday 10:30 to 9, Friday and Saturday 10:30 to 10, and Sunday from 10:30 until 8, Monday from 9 to 6. They have a wide range of domestic and imported beers and a fully stocked bar. And you are going to love their authentic Mexican meal.
Quick! Someone call an exterminator! The termites have eaten a hole in my coffin.
So what, man?
You would care if your house was being eaten by termites.
Before the termites bite at your home, call Tennessee Termite and Pest Control and get a termite inspection to find out if you have a problem.
Yeah, man. It's boss.
Pesky little boogers.
We were all young once, Has aging got you worried? Fade 2 LLC has got you covered. Fade 2 LLC offers weight management kits, anti-aging therapies like neurotoxin and dermal fillers, as well as hydrofacials and platelet-rich plasma treatment for facial rejuvenation or hair growth. Fade 2 LLC offers a variety of cocktails for intravenous vitamin therapy. Fade 2 LLC has 2 locations: inside the Country Mart at 1045 West Main Street, Suite D4 in Monteagle, Tennessee, or inside Strand Salon and Day Spa, 115 Woodland Drive in Jasper.
And now, back to the film.
Zombies? Yes. They are my servants. Did you think we could do it alone? In their lifetime, they were my enemies. Lego, the witch doctor. Once my master. Secrets I tortured out of him. Von Gelder, the swine, swollen with riches. He fought against my spells until the last. Him yet I have trouble fight. His Excellency Richard, once Minister of the Interior. Garcia, Brigand Chief. Marquis, Captain of Gendarmerie. And this is Chauvin, the High Executioner, who almost executed me. I took them, just as we will take this one. But what if they regain their souls? They would tear me to pieces. And that, my friend, shall never be. Madeline.
Madeline!
There's two explanations that strike me. Either the body was stolen by members of a death cult that use human bones in their ceremonies, or else...
Or else what?
She's not dead.
Not dead? Are you mad? I saw her die. The doctor signed a certificate. I saw them bury her.
Now, wait a minute. Wait a minute. I'm not mad. But I've lived in these islands for a good many years. And I've seen things with my eyes that made me think I was crazy. There's superstitions in Haiti that the natives brought here from Africa. Some of them can be traced back as far as ancient Egypt. And beyond that yet, in the countries that was old when Egypt was young.
Yes, but what has that to do with Madeline? I kissed her as she lay there in the coffin. And her lips were cold.
Let me explain. Now, just a minute. I'll explain. Wherever there is a superstition, you will find there is also a practice. Now, do you remember what your driver told you the night he took you to Beaumont's house?
Oh, about those horrible creatures we saw.
Yeah.
He said they were corpses, taken from their grave.
That's it. Now, wait. Now, that's the superstition. Now for the practice. The ghouls that steal the dead corpses from the graves are supposed to put them there in the first place.
Do you mean that Madeline was murdered so that somebody could steal her dead body? Ah, nonsense.
No. Not her body, yes, but not her dead body. That's what I mean.
Well, surely you don't think she's alive in the hands of natives? Oh, no, better dead than that.
Excuse me, please. Have you got a match? Thank you.
You don't believe that, do you?
Say, there's been lots of people that's been pronounced dead that came alive again and lived for years. Now, if nature can play pranks like that, why isn't it possible to play pranks with nature?
Oh, I don't know.
Your driver believed he saw dead men walking. He didn't. What he saw was men alive in everything but this and this.
Oh, the whole thing has me confused. I just can't understand it.
I don't blame you. I don't blame you. I've been trying for years to get to the bottom of this thing. To separate what you call fact from fiction. The law of Haiti acknowledges the possibility of being buried alive. Here it is in the penal code. I'll read it for you. It's in French. Do you speak French?
No.
Excuse me, please. Have you got a match? Right here. Here's one. Oh, thank you. I didn't see it. I'll translate it for you, if you will. Article 149. The use of drugs or other practices which produce lethargic coma or lifeless sleep shall be considered attempted murder.
Yes.
Attempted.
Yes, I see.
Yeah, all right, all right. If the person has been buried alive, the act should be considered murder, no matter what result follows.
Beaumont. Say, you said that you couldn't understand why he was so interested in us. Do you think he did this?
No. No, I think it's native work. Native work, exactly. Of course, if you want to, we can go to Beaumont's house first. If I can get home...
Can't the authorities help?
Neil, my boy, you don't know these islands. The native authorities are afraid to meddle. I'm not. I got friends natives. They'll tell me things down if we ever get out of it. Because I'm a preacher, they think I'm a magician. Before we get through with this thing, we may uncover sins that even the devil would be ashamed. Oh, these witch doctors.
Foolish things. They can't bring back the light to those eyes. I was mad to do this. But if you'd have smiled on me, I'd have done anything for you, given you anything. I thought that beauty alone would satisfy. But the soul is gone. I can't bear those empty, staring eyes. Oh, forgive me, Madeline, forgive me. I can't bear it any longer. I must take you back.
Back to the grave, monsieur?
No. You must put the light back into her eyes and bring laughter to her lips. She must be gay and happy again.
You paint a charming picture, monsieur. One that I should like to see myself.
you must bring her back.
Aren't you a trifle afraid, monsieur? How do you suppose those eyes will regard you when the brain is able to understand?
Better to see hatred in them than that dreadful emptiness.
Perhaps you're right. It would be a pity to destroy such a lovely flower. Let's drink to the future of this flower. A glass of wine?
Silver, bring wine. We have a toast to drink.
To the future, monsieur. Only a pinpoint, monsieur, in a flower, or perhaps a glass of wine.
What are you trying to do to me?
I have other plans for Mademoiselle. And I'm afraid you might not agree. I have taken a fancy to you, monsieur.
Silver! Silver!
To the future, monsieur.
No, not that. Not that.
We ought to be picking up an old witch doctor around here pretty soon. His name is Pierre. I've known him for years. He's a great old fella. I don't know just where we find him.
There are evil spirits in the road. I will give you an awanga. And here is one for the up. Young man, he's sick with fever.
Yes. Hey, wait a minute. We can't afford to have you sick. Neil, why don't you go over there? We got a hard day before us tomorrow. Now then, Pierre, come on. He's gone. You can talk.
It is a dangerous thing you ask me to do.
Oh, but now listen here, you know. We're old friends, you and me, and I want to go on.
Turn back before it is too late.
Oh, no. I've come too far to turn back now.
I'm too old to go all the way with you.
Well, listen. Can't you get somebody to go with us?
My people are afraid of the mountain.
Why?
Because it is called the land of the living dead.
Well, have you ever been there?
I am the only man that ever came from there alive. There is an evil spirit man that is called murder. Come, I will tell you all about what it is.
Vultures. Just as old Pierre said, a cloud of vultures always hovers over the house of the living dead.
Madeline, is she there?
No.
Oh, I must go and see.
No, Neil, my boy. Please, lie down and rest. Please. You'll feel stronger in the morning. You rest. Let me go up and see what I can do.
Why is she so restless tonight? Perhaps she remembers something. They never remember anything when they are like that. No? Because he's cut off.
Madeline. Madeline.
No. I can't. I can't. You must. It's your turn. Let her on the way. Shh. Steve might hear you. No, I can't stand it. I'm going to run away. He'll find you and make you like her.
Can you still hear me? It is unfortunate you are no longer able to speak. I should be interested to hear you describe your symptoms. You see, you are the first man to know what is happening. None of the others did. You refused to shake hands once. I remember. Well, well. We understand each other better now.
Madeline. Madeline, I found you. You're alive. Alive. What's the matter? It's I, Neil. Oh, my darling. What have they done to you?
Who are you? And what are they? For you, my friend, they are the angels of death.
you know me, dear? It's Neil.
I could swear. For a moment she recognized you. Come on, don't let him get away.
Madeline, my darling.
I dreamed.
Excuse me, please. Have you got a match?
Well, it looks like Dead John outdid himself with these drinks.
It sure does.
Except it's not a white zombie, maybe a blue zombie.
Maybe he's colorblind.
Could be. Anyway, I don't think the looks matter all that much. It's mostly taste. We hope y'all enjoyed tonight's little flick.
Yes, we do.
White Zombie with Bela Lugosi, Badge Bellamy. Classic. Well, the beginning of the whole voodoo zombie movie trend. It would become very popular in the 40s and 50s, right up until today. And this is the progenitor of all of it.
Yes, groundbreaking film.
Well, a zombie movie has to be done.
Grim.
I'm just saying, if the zombie doesn't break ground, there ain't gonna be no movie.
You do have a point.
Well, I think we put this off about as long as we can. Tastes like embalming fluid.